Well, hello, interlopers. Those of you that have been around a long time may remember Sean Murray, our creator of No Man's Sky, leader of Hello Games, mentioned in passing that he would create periodic tables for No Man's Sky. And I think I heard that some people think he uh, reneged on that promise, but I think he carried through in a weird sort of way. Don't get too carried away with the periodic table that we have on Earth, in our universe. The No Man's Sky is its own universe, has its own periodic table, its own elements, its own uh, organization. So I've been investigating, and there's a couple of them. One periodic table is, and I've emptied out my freighter main hold to show you how I have organized these things. Across this center row is the crops that you can grow in your bases in crop what do they call them? Is it here? Yeah, in the large hydroponic trays or the small hydroponic tray, or even outdoors, you can grow these crops. And they consist of stuff like gamma weed, fungal cluster, frostwort, not the venom urchin, but the starvine, not the gut rot flower to a certain extent, not the gravitino host. That's a special one. The venom urchin, gravitino host, and the albumin plant pearl orb, and the nip nip are special ones. The other ones are the regular standard crops. Mornite root, echinocactus, and star bramble. And I've organized them across this middle row here in a special order. The Phaeacium and Mornite at the ends, and the six crops that you can find on basic planets across the middle here. You find them growing wild on planets, you harvest them, and then you can plant them with up here these minerals that are also found on, you find on the same planets always fungal mold and ammonia, pyrite and cactus flesh on other planets. Then you find star bulb, you find on the same planet, you'll find paraffinium. Selenium, you find phosphorus. Frost crystal, you find dioxide. And when you plant them together. It's like the mineral is the natural fertilizer for these plants to grow and produce more of these plants. Also, if you refine these plants together with salt, you can refine the plant back into the mineral. Salt is like some sort of uh, what do you call it? Some sort of catalyst for extracting the mineral back out from the plant. that you can then grow them. You don't have to find the mineral, you just find some salt. And then you can use the salt on all of these to extract the mineral. So once you have these 8 products, you don't need them all, but you can do one at a time and investigate each one separately. For instance, you can find recipes to craft the products in this row. Acid from fungal mold and mortite together, you craft acid. And that's on that other table that we showed you. Acid is used to produce the liquid explosive on that table, which is one of the processes on that other table. Unstable gel and acid together make liquid explosive, which is an ingredient for the more valuable stuff. Star bulb and cactus flesh, okay, cactus flesh and star bulb together produces polyfiber. The unstable gel only needs cactus flesh. It's kind of a special one there. But together they produce polyfiber. If you do selenium and frost crystals, I put them together here on this table to craft into heat capacitor. Then heat capacitor with polyfiber, you make the circuit boards that are on that other table. This whole row is found on the other table as basic ingredients, okay, but they're not really basic on this table. Glass, you only need frost crystal to create glass. The glass is kind of a special one because the numbers are different for the production. You need like 5 glass to combine with 1 lubricant to make a smart glass. The lubricant uses faecium and gamma root. Faecium is here, and it makes lubricant and glass together makes smart glass. Okay, that's that row. So that's the top 2 rows. The rows below are starting with the food processor. They're cooking products. So you put faecium in a food processor, it'll produce wild yeast. You put gamma root in a food processor, you get sievert beans. Frost crystal makes glass grains. Solarium produces solartino. I have to be careful with my pronunciation of those two. Star bulb, you make pilgrim berry. Cactus flesh, you make cactus nectar. Fungus mold, in a food processor, you make non-toxic mushroom. And mortite, you can make meat flakes. Then you take them and you put these products back in the food processor. And the next step, producing from meat flakes, you can produce meaty chunks in a food processor. They're like 2 minutes, 2 seconds, 2 minutes per stack, a stack of 50, 2 or 4 minutes. They're all the same time and ingredient numbers to combine. So you take fungus mold, you put it in once, and you get non-toxic mushrooms. You take the non-toxic mushroom product and you just move it back into the input, and you can produce steamed vegetables. I'll expand on steamed vegetables later. That's a pet product of mine. Cactus flesh, you produce cactus nectar, and then that produces processed sugar. Both these rows are products or ingredients for lots of other recipes, but these are the basic recipes. You don't need anything outside this chart, this table, to produce these things on the star bulb, Pilgrim berry, and then Pilgrim Tonic. I don't know what you use Pilgrim Tonic for. It seems to be a standalone. Uh, Solanium, produce solar tillo, and steamed vegetables. Frost crystal produces glass grains and refined flour. Gamma root produces sievert beans and steamed vegetables. Steamed vegetables recur here, and I think there's a reason for that. Faecium, you make wild yeast, which you can combine with other stuff then. And funny enough, if you put wild yeast in a food processor, the output is just more wild yeast. It doesn't grow or change in any way. It just wastes time. For some reason, that's a really weird one. From here, we've got the steamed vegetables, but we can also then, from steamed vegetables and mushrooms, we can produce eventually delicious vegetable stew. Now, I've showed you before, like solanium, solar tillo. Like one stack of solar tillo in the food processor produces steamed vegetables. If you split that stack into two, instead of just putting it all in one stack, you split it into two stacks of solar tillo, you produce, what's it called? I forget the name offhand. Let's go over to my food processors here and give it a try. Find some of this solar tillo. If I put one in here, it produces steamed vegetables. But if I split it into two stacks, it produces fibrous stew. And that's true of all of those in that chart. It's true of the non-toxic mushroom, the solar tillo, and the sievert beans. They all produce the fibrous stew. Now, if you do the same thing with the steamed vegetables, you split it into two stacks and combine them in a food processor, it produces a creamy sauce. The same steamed vegetables for all three of them here. So a creamy sauce and the fibrous stew. You combine those two together and you get the delicious vegetable stew, which is a top level food product that you can take. You can sell it in sell it anywhere for high value money, or if I were to just take, say, 4 of these, begin. Now, I take half and I put it back in. I'll save the other half. I produce 2 of these vegetables. I put it back in, split up, and I produce this flavorsome sauce. Creamy sauce. Sorry, I said creamy sauce. It's flavorsome sauce. I save that. And I take the other half that I produced, and I don't split it up. I just produce, no, I split this one up. Okay. That produces the fibrous stew. I got 1 of those now, and I've got 1 of the flavorsome sauce, and it produces just 2 seconds for each one. 18,000 units value. If you have a full stack for this stuff is 50. That it'll do 50 at a time in this food processor for all of these combinations. And when you turn this in, not only for selling but also for turning into Kronos the food critic in the space anomaly by the Nexus, in back behind the Nexus there's the Kronos the food critic. You give him some delicious vegetable stew, and he'll give you the maximum number of nanites for any of the food products. This is a top tier food product. And it's all tied into that periodic table. You grow these basic products, and you can combine them. The different stuff for the glass grains, you can actually make glass sheets out of it, I believe out of glass grains, or flour. You make glass out of frost crystal directly. This Pilgrim Tonic line is kind of a dead end. I don't know what you can use that for, either one of them. But the cactus nectar and the sugar is an ingredient in several recipes of various other food products. As is like the meaty chunks and the wild yeast. But that's my findings from much research and fiddling about. So thought I'd share that with you. Have fun, good luck, and goodbye for now.